Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to my channel. I am Kelly Lee. On my channel, I talk about everything witchcraft and spirituality that I do in my everyday life, as well as aromatherapy, herbalism, and especially tarot. So welcome back. Today we are doing a VR to the Hermit's Cave, and it is hashtag the deck that. So we have 4 prompts here, and I will say the last prompt I did choose 2 decks because I could not choose between the 2. So I do have 2 of them. I really like this hashtag, this whole thing, because it makes you think. It makes you think about the decks that you have in your collection. It makes you really look in depth to decks that you may have been intimidated to work with, or may have, become maybe a little too comfortable with, and maybe it can help you start, questioning things in a good way, right? So we will get started with the first prompt is the deck that surprises me the most. That would be this one right here. Every Little Thing You Do is Magic Tarot by, bring it up here, Callie Little and Moira Seal. Now, why this deck surprises me. I am not one to normally enjoy kind of like collage style tarot decks, okay? Just because, or collage, or like photo, like realism, just because it never really appealed to me. I never really felt drawn in, but with this deck, there is just something about this deck that calls to me and really makes me think. It really drew me in and really made me think about things. And I actually found myself really, really loving the images and the pictures that are on each card, and I really came to appreciate it, right? So this is the only like photorealism collage that I have in my collection that I actively use. So that's part of why it really, really, really surprised me. But not only did I get surprised by the artwork and how much I enjoyed it, but the guidebook itself is amazing. So you get a little pager here. Up here at the top, of course, is the title. She gives usually like 3 paragraphs worth. You get a little reversed right here, but then they also include how to channel the vibe with a stone. You get music, you get a scent that this card reminds them of, and then you also get the numerology. So I really, really enjoyed that and was really surprised whenever I opened the guidebook and I saw that. It has really helped me get in touch with each card. So sometimes when I use this in my daily draws, I will on that day play that song. If I have that stone, I'll keep that stone with me. If I have that scent, I will, spray it on me, or to burn incense, or do, something with that scent, right? That's what also really, really, really surprised me about this deck. I love it, and it actually came, sold separately. It has a workbook that you can also really deep dive into the cards in this deck. So if you would like to purchase that as well, you can. So Every Little Thing You Do is Magic by Callie Little and Moira. I think it's Moira Seal. If I am wrong, I apologize. Next prompt. The deck that intimidates me. So technically this is 2 decks. So this bag I actually bought on Etsy specifically for these 2 decks that I put together. So let me, and it is, because I combined them, it is very, very large. If you know from that back right there, you probably already know, these are soul cards. So these are the 2 decks for soul cards. There are no keywords, there's no descriptions, there's no nothing. So whenever you work with these cards, you have to go off of just intuition. And why this deck intimidates me is because even though I am an intuitive reader, I still get hints from the keywords, from things that are incorporated into, the deck itself. I still get hints of, a normal Rider-Waite-Smith system. I will get, like intuitive hits from it, right? But this is completely all on its own. And I've been, like that one so. And I've been slowly working up the courage and starting to work with these, because for whatever reason, I feel so, I second guess myself a lot. A lot. And when I look at an image, the first thing I think of, I'm always like, oh no, and I discard it, and I don't need to do that. And so I need to, whenever I look at one of these cards, I need to just write down immediately what I think before I can just say no and move on to something else. And then that something else doesn't feel right. But these are the soul cards. And because, so I put the first and second, so they have 2 different color backs, but the cards are the same size, so it kind of works out. And this bag, I bought it specifically for these cards, but I didn't know if it would fit them or not. But it fits them, look at that, perfectly, with like just like a little bit of room here at the end. So if you wanted to put like a crystal in there with them, or, like a piece of Palo Santo, or, like a bag of herbs or something, you could. Next prompt is the deck that gives the best reading. I had to go with Light Seers by Chris Ann. This deck is kind of like an all-hitter. It gives such accurate and good readings. People resonate with the imagery. People talk about this deck after I've read for them with this deck. They will bring it up in later sessions. And sometimes, for some clients, this is the only deck that they want to have their reading done with. And so they will ask for this deck. The artwork just calls to people. It's so pretty. I love all the colors. Look at that 4 swords. And it calls to all people. I've had men, women choose this deck for all different types of questions, like I said. And this deck is very easy for me to read with. Oh, King of Swords. I love this tower because it's like a tree. There's a squirrel. And he's looking up at the tree. It's probably his home. Ace of Cups. The Devil. I love this Devil card. Because to just look at him, he doesn't really seem that, devilish. He's, he's just holding his hand out to you. But, So, Light Sears Tarot by Chris Ann is my deck that gives the best reading. Oh, got your little shaky there. Last prompt is the deck that feels like a secret between us. So, like I said, when I started this, I do have 2 decks that I chose for this one. The first one is Apothecary Spirits Oracle. And why I feel like it's a secret between us is because number one, I've never seen anyone else have this deck. I actually searched for it on YouTube when I first purchased it. And I could not find any unboxings or anything like that for it. I'm sure some people have it, of course. I just couldn't find anything on it. But also, this deck, this is the back, and it's lined in this really like mint green color. I feel like I use this deck to read more so just for me, because it is very much an herb deck. You learn things from, like about the herbs from the deck. I've only used this deck for myself. I have not used this deck to read for anyone else. So maybe that's also why it feels kind of like a secret, because I haven't busted it out for anyone else. But it is so pretty. Like watercolor, minimalist, well, sometimes minimalistic. You get hints of people in the pictures. It is just so pretty. The cardstock is amazing. It has this really silky texture to it. It's wonderful to shuffle. I love everything about it. Pokeweed. Very, very pretty. I actually have been using this to do my weekly oracle pulls for myself. This week I can show y'all. I got the Shears card, which is that card right there. And if you just want to get a little snippet about me and my week, let's look up Shears. Shears is about severing, cutting away, and ending. Shears are a vital tool for herbalists from the garden to the kitchen. So it talks about, the item itself, and then it will sometimes talk about the history. So in this one, in Greek mythology, the older sister of Fate wields a pair of shears, so it talks about her. And then it talks about if it comes through in a reading for you. In this deck, some of the cards also have spreads attributed to just them, which I think is very cool. So that is Apothecary Spirits Oracle by Eric Millay, Michael Anthony, and Thomas Witholt. If I'm saying those incorrectly, I apologize. And then my second deck I chose for a deck that feels like a secret between us. If you've seen this box before, this is my OG very first deck I ever got when I was about 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old. I was in middle school, about to go into high school. And this is the Medieval Scapini deck. And I keep it in this box, and it does still have the original little white booklet in it. This is copyright 1985. And I keep some selenite, some hibiscus, and other things in there with it. But this is the Medieval Scapini. This is my OG. One of the things that if my house was on fire and I just had to grab, like a couple things, this would be something I would grab. This deck has been with me through everything. This deck was the deck I used when I did my very, very first, like, stranger reading in the common room of my dorm in college. Because, you know, before then it was just friends and family and myself, you know, but a true stranger that I knew nothing about was in the common room in college. And I remember the moment that it clicked for me. I was giving her a reading, and one of the cards, I don't even remember what card it was, but it may have been the Emperor, maybe. But I looked at her and I said, do you have, you know, like a male figure? I said, do you have a male figure in your life that you would normally talk to about this? And she said, yes. And I said, have you? And she was like, no. And she started crying. And I said, well, I feel like you should talk to him about this, right? And that was the moment it really, like, clicked for me. But this is the Medieval Scapini by Luigi Scapini. So those are the deck that tag by the Hermit's Cave. Thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out with me, checking out these decks. I wish you nothing but the best day, week, month, year. And I will see you next time. Bye.